If you could set yourself up to win a best of 5 series by winning game number 1 or by getting a 3-0 win, you definitely would try to take those odds. And I bet a lot of the Grandmasters are trying to do that this weekend for Last Hero Standing. For Last Hero Standing, it's basically the opposite of Conquest that I talked about in week number 1. Conquest, you have to get a win with each of the decks, but Last Hero Standing is the complete opposite. You can't use a deck anymore once it loses. So oftentimes in Last Hero Standing, one deck might sweep against a lineup, or there's a lot of back and forth that happens that leads to players winning game number 1, game number 3, and then game number 5 to win the series. But I'm going to pull up on screen for you. Let's go through the regions and what decks they brought. Now, this does look very, very similar to Conquest in week number 1 for the Americas region. Top decks being brought, Druid and Demon Hunter. Definitely looks like a repeat. One single Warlock, which I think is interesting. But yeah, the Kazakhstan Druid and the combo Fel Demon Hunter. Very, very strong, flexible decks. They have some pretty good matchup spreads, so not surprised at all to see these being popular. And if we look at the Europe region, basically the same exact thing as well. Kazakhstan and some Spell Druid in there. So the Spell Druid and Kazakhstan lists are very, very similar, just a few cards different. And then the combo Fel Demon Hunter being very popular as well. And in the Asia Pacific region, yet again, Kazakhstan, Spell Druid, and the combo Fel Demon Hunter are up at the top as well. But interestingly, much lower representation of Shaman and much higher representation of Rogue in the Asia Pacific than in the other two regions. Quest Rogue actually does do very well into the Quest Fel DH. So it seems like a lot of them were kind of bringing the Quest Rogue as a counter to that Fel Demon Hunter, whereas it does not do well versus Shaman, so that likely will be a ban in addition to the Control Warrior in that Asia Pacific region. But because of these decks being popular, yet again, we do have kind of an influence of the competitive scene going over into ladder. So I would not be surprised if you continue seeing the Kazakhstan and Spell Druids along with that Quest Fel DH on ladder. This is the third week of Grandmasters play. Next weekend, we will have the Masters Tour number 2. And then after that, we'll be getting into the playoffs, the final week of Grandmasters. I'm really curious to see how many sweeps versus 3-2 kind of back and forth there are this weekend. Let me know what you thought of this really quick, short breakdown video. Did you like this more or less than the previous videos? Or didn't quite dig as deep into statistics and talking about reasoning? But would love to hear your thoughts down in those comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you go out and make today legendary.